Hey guys, if this is your first time here, welcome to On the Lockout. Today we're going to talk about addiction and how I started getting high and running around in the streets at an early age as a 15. So I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, Sunset Park. I had a fairly good childhood, although I went through a lot of things, right? What I mean in my household, my father, my mother, like any other child, but when left alone to your own devices, other grown-ups in life take advantage of that. At an early age, let's go back to right before I was 16, 15 years old, I was abused as a child. This is not something new. I said this story various times again, but this is for my new people that just came to the channel. I'm just trying to show you that anything is possible, more or less, right? So I'm abused as a child. I went through a lot, and now looking back to it today, I see that it played a big role in my drug abuse and how I paid attention to the streets that called me more. Like I took a big liking to the street life. I never thought for 1 second in my life that I would be that same dude that I used to see getting high, running around, robbing people. It was a real terrible life to live. So at an early age, there's dudes in my neighborhood, and I'm like kind of sort of not. I wanted to hang out with them. I wanted to be them. It looked like they was having a lot of fun. I didn't know heavy drugs at this time. I just knew like weed, 40 ounces of OE. So this friend of ours at that time, which my mother dislikes, in fact, I even could say hates, because our parents always blame other people for how we turned out, right? So we may understand that it's wrong, but when you love your child that much, you don't want to believe that your child is a little terror and that he did all that on his own and that you can't blame other people, right? We understand that. So the guy introduces us, or me, to heroin. He's like, bro, I don't want to seem like I'm selfish and not offer you some of this, but it's bad for you. So it's on you if you want to try it. So the first time I tried it, boom, I had such a headache out this world, and I was vomiting like I've never vomited in my life. So the next day we together again, and he's like, yo, did you vomit yesterday? I'm like, bro, Allah, I'm still vomiting. I can't stop. Everything I drink, I vomit. He's like, yeah, that's going to happen like the first time. So, but if you do it again, you get used to it and you may like it. So I don't want to seem like I'm being selfish. Here we go again. But if you want somebody, it's completely up to you. What do I do? Let me get some, right? The free. None is free. Everything comes with a price. I learned that today. A big price. There was no one there to tell us, you're going to get sick off of this. You're going to be a slave to this. You're going to do things that are unimaginable that you would never do otherwise. So I take it. It gets crazy, bro. Now is the second time. So when I wake up the following day after that, I start feeling like something is missing, bro. Cause it wasn't as bad now. I didn't have a major super headache. I kind of like sort of enjoyed it. Mind you, I was already indulging in cannabis, alcohol, what have you, here and there, cause the block, the streets, New York City, Brooklyn, Sunset Park is lit. So I thought, I tried this thing. I got so used to it. For a lot of years of my life, it became exactly that, a part of my life. I figure that maybe when I get put away and sent to jail or prison, I'll stop. I'll have an opportunity to stay away from it. I get to Rikers Island, New York City jail. It is infested with heroin. I'm talking about infested. And the inmates doing anything possible to obtain this substance and this contraband. It was unbelievable. So now I'm sick. Mind you, nobody explained. They didn't come with a manual. You know, you're going to get sick. You're going to become a slave. This is everything you're going to think of in your life. And this is going to come first. Before your mother, before your kids, before your wife. Welcome to hell. So I start getting locked up. And Rikers Island, they made it comfortable for you, but you had to go through so much. You're in intake, the whole process, you're sick. By the time you see a doctor, you feel like you dead. But you're not going to die, right? They give you the little methadone that they give you. So I figure like I'm good now. So now I see everybody getting it. Now I'm chasing this stuff on Rikers Island to the point where you're fighting. People are cutting each other. It's still playing a big role. It's like you're in the streets. Sometimes I seen so much drugs on Rikers Island, more than you would see in some places in the street. This is a fact. So now I'm convincing my family, my girl, whoever I'm with at the time, you gotta bring me this. I'm sick. And in jail, drugs is power. So I was still getting high. Mind you, I'm young. Going through adolescence, Rikers Island, getting high. All these years passed by. And every time I was trying to fight that to stop doing that. Because I always felt like people ain't looking at me no way. You know, you think you looking cute. You the man. You putting your clothes on. It's an inferior drug. It makes you feel powerful over all, superior, right? But you're looking stupid. But to you, you look good. And I'm still getting jiggy. I always felt as long as I wasn't one of those dudes that let myself fall all the way down to where I'm bummed out, I'll be fine. So I thought I was controlling it, you know? I never realized that my life had become unmanageable and that I was no longer in control. I never, for so many years, I kept doing anything, really. If you analyze, you could say, oh, well, I was trying to get money because I needed to pay bills, because I needed sneakers or whatever. Even when I had real good jobs, I would still make sure that you had your little bundle, your 10 bags, your 3 bags, whatever you was doing. I was bringing that with me because I couldn't function with that. In fact, to be perfectly honest, at those times, I didn't want to function without it. Because I got so accustomed since the age of about 15 that this is a part of my life. Forgetting about the beginning of my life, how great it was. How I wasn't taught that I was the only one in that side of my family that was doing this. My mother don't do no drugs. My father, he drank. But you know, they made that legal. There's no problem. It's only alcohol. Not knowing that more people die from alcohol on a daily basis than anything else in the world. So I let that pass. Like, no, my pops don't. It was never a drug to us because it was already legalized. So I say all that to say it started off with weed. And sometimes I hear these people say like, bro, weed is not a drug, you know, and I'm never going to get high. And we put down the people that do or the people that have, right? Let me continue telling you how this all happened. And then I want to try to get into what's happening today. And how I feel about myself today. Because for a lot of years, not understanding it, I felt real bad about myself. So I wallowed in my own shit. And I continuously and repeatedly did something that I knew was harmful to me. How could you love something so bad that makes you so sick to the point where you feel like you're gonna die? If that's not insanity, then I don't know what is. I'm going to Rikers Island. it became a thing like, what are you gonna do? Lock me up? You know, I know everybody there. It was like my second home. There's drugs there. You know, drug dealers, the hustlers, they'll give you anything for free the first time, maybe the second time. But you gotta pay like everybody else. Nothing is really free. Everything becomes a game, even your life to other people. So I start telling myself in my head, yo, I don't want to be 20 years old and still be coming here. Did that. I don't want to be 30 years old and still be coming here. Did that. The years went by is what I'm trying to say. And even though I acquired a few things in my life, CDL, work driving trucks, drove school buses, had pretty good jobs the little times I was out, there was still always one problem. This boy loves opiates. And I've never hit that from nobody on none of my platforms. I've struggled with addiction for over 2 decades. And one of the main reasons why I started doing this was to help other people not end up the way I ended up. Abused as a child. Indulging in drugs. Abusing drugs. Hard body. I tried any drug that you could probably imagine in your life. I had ups and downs. I was a drug user. Then I wanted to be, I started off as a drug dealer really since a kid, right? Then I started doing it, But it would take me probably hours of the story, and I just want to get to you to know where I come from and where I'm trying to go. And also to let you know that, believe it or not, anything is possible if you put your mind to it. So with that being said, I continuously do drugs in and out of prison. Things are getting crazy now. The bids are getting longer. 6 months, 9 months, a year is turning into a 1 to 3, 2.5 to 4, 2.5 to 5, 4.5 to 9, 4.5 to 12. Trials are coming now. You're being charged with bigger crimes because you're trying to obtain all this money. For every day of my life, I woke up thinking, because I wanted to be a drug dealer. I was a drug dealer for a few months. Then I did drugs for another few months. Then I clean up. I wanted to be a drug dealer, a pimp, a gangster. Because you can't forget, before you fell into all this, you still thought you was tough in the beginning if you're from the streets of New York, right? If that was your life, in your head, you like, I'm a gangster. So that's where the notion of, don't get it twisted, when people be saying like on Rikers Island, these prisons, people that get high or dudes that did dope, they was putting in that work. I was one of those dudes, and there's a lot of them. They just don't tell the fact story that they tried heavy drugs or was caught up in that mix because they think that people are going to look down at them as less than. When I think it makes you a better man if you let someone else know, this is what I used to do. This is who I was. But this is who I am today. And look at everything I accomplished. As humble as I can be, I really say that to you. So I just want to know, if you ever want to see more videos like this and hear more of the story, please comment it behind in the bottom here in the comment section, and I will do exactly that. But I went on, get locked up, in and out of prison, Then I thought about something. Rikers Island story. Put it into a podcast. I'm just fast forwarding and making it fast for you. But if you want to hear more about the story and how addiction and how I was fighting addiction and how I continue and what I do today, I'm about to show you a little bit about what I do today that helps me stay away from addiction, like indulging in drugs. But I could tell you more about the drug programs I was in. I was in any detox imaginable. Still in all, I wanted to be a super gangster. So poop, I'm doing things to people. I'm sticking people up. I'm robbing people. Every day you got to wake up and see what you're going to do. Who's going to get robbed today? If you about it, right? Because I'm spending $100 on a when I'm buying the work. And then you want to get jiggy. We wasn't regular. We didn't want to be regular drug addicts, right? With respects to everybody, because I dislike those words, or the word junkie. With respects to everybody. So please, if you comment that in my comment section and disrespectful towards people that are in recovery or working on recovery, respectfully, bro, you will be blocked, and those comments will not be shown. Good vibes only. I've always worked that way. Some of the people that get high or have been fighting addiction are some of the best human beings in the world. I know that personally. So I didn't want to take up all your time. I just wanted to tell you a little something about myself, because you may not know where I come from. You think everything is nice and hunky-dory because you see the background, the studio, all that. And this is for my new people that just got here, the ones that know the story. I'm grateful, 1,000,000% grateful. I probably have a strange way when somebody gets in the comments and they try to get crazy, so I sincerely apologize. But today, this is what I do to stay away from addiction. When I started the whole Rikers Island story thing, and we talk, 1,000,000 people told their story. We talking about made it into a podcast, and the wave took off and people was tuning in. I was already podcasting before that. I was already into music before that. But then I started taking it a little more serious. And the stories and the videos there in the bottom from the beginning of this channel. I was doing that before that for over a decade, on and off because of my incarcerations. But in the process, I started with a phone, and this is where I really want to get at. If you understood anything about this video, this is you. If you ever thought about making content, this is what I want you to understand. And telling your story and your journey, it is important. You can save lives. We saved various of lives. If I die today, I'm good. Because a bunch of other guys and people, men and women in the world told me, you saved my life. You inspired me.
Yo, this for my nigga Warpath from on the Lockout. Yo, bro, I gotta get on your show, my G. I got a lot of wild and crazy ass stories from the streets and the island also, bro. And I fuck with your channel, bro. I was watching you when you was real, not that big on YouTube, but I see your shit growing like crazy. And I ain't trying to freeload or trying to get a buzz off your name or any of that shit, bro. You just seem like a real thorough official nigga, and I'm a thorough official nigga too, so that's why I fuck with your shit. And you seem like you all your stories is legit, so I wanted to get on your show because I got some wild stories from the streets and the pen also. But I ain't been locked up as long as you have. I don't think, nowhere near as long. But I still got some wild stories from the streets also. And I want to get on your show to get my story out there. So if you with it, hit me back. And for all the people that watch this video, if you're a Lockout fan, if you're not, tag him and make him see this video so he can see I want to get something done with him. Alright, one love. Y'all take it easy out there.
And that's all I ever wanted, was to make a change and a correction in some way in my head for all the fucked up things that I probably did that I know I did to people in the streets and in life in general. With that being said, I'm 1,000,000% grateful. As humble as I can be, if you ever thought about making content like this, I come from the mud, from the gutter. I smoked crack before. I shot up heroin. I said I'll never put needles in my arm. I was always afraid of needles, and it destroyed my life. I lost friendships, good people. I did things to them that I would never do under different circumstances. But drugs is the work of the devil, and they don't discriminate. With that being said, I started with a phone. From a phone, I got a laptop. From a laptop, I stepped it up. And this is what I do today. I tell my stories, and I show other people how they can grow also, and the equipment that they need to buy that actually works, because it's products that I've been using for months or since I've been doing this on our other channel here on YouTube called Tech for Rec. Never mind the the Twitch symbol. We also over there on the Lockout, but it's TEK, the number 4, and REK. From time to time, I show here. It's called Tech Thursdays around 8 o'clock p.m. I'm going to try to move it to 7, but for right now, it's at 8 o'clock p.m. And if I come a few minutes late, I'll be here. I'm getting things ready. You know how it be when you're going live. But this is my setup today. This is my studio. This is not a green screen, although I use green screen. It is very professional. Don't let nobody tell you it's not. I got into streaming and gaming. It's a beautiful community. I do podcasting on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Overcast, Castbox FM. We on hundreds of platforms worldwide, right? And I show people how to grow on these platforms as a business. And a lot of people DM me for that on the Lockout. But if you want to know what products to get, how to fix your audio and all that, you just need a few tips, you can check out Tech for Rec. This is my setup today, and I'm just trying to show you that anything is possible. Because if you making content or you a content creator, this is going to be part of your journey. At one point or another, you want to have a little setup, a studio, your own YouTube studio. And I've come a long way from just the drug addict, the junkie, the so-called gangster, but his son is a thug, but he gets high on heroin. Now he used to. I can't say there's no times that I think about that, because I think about it a lot. But I play in my head all the bad things, and I try to keep it green within my brain that that's not where I want to be at today, because I love this better. So you tell me what you think about the setup. And I think, me personally, not bad for the so-called junkie, the drug addict, the dope fiend, the way I see some of these trolls comment on the people's videos that is trying to do something with their life. This was made for everybody. This just wasn't made for people that never got high. This internet, this for everybody. Equal opportunity. What happened to that? So those people don't count. Some of the best people in the world are people that come from that life. They were just going through something. Those are our brothers and sisters. Don't matter what color you are. Love all people. So what do? We just forget about them? Nah, not me. It's always been hashtag love all people here on the Lockout. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know if you want to hear some more, because I plan on getting into these stories. And I apologize for getting sentimental, but my people are still my people, and I never forget. And it means the world to me. Facts. Thank you for tuning in to On the Lockout. Don't forget to comment and subscribe if you like this content or got any value out of it. Mommy, look at your son. Not bad, right? The drug addict. El hijo de Tata, the one that gets high from down the block. Hi, guys. Check out my setup. Let me know if you guys like it. And there's anything I can help you with. We don't have much, but with the little bit we have, we're willing to share. Thank you. I'm 1,000,000% grateful.
I don't know why these dudes want from me. Been through so much, life has been hard for me. I don't know why these dudes want from me. Been through so much, life has been hard for me. I'm a real G boy, I stomp them streets. A lot of these cats been heard of me. I'm a real G boy, I stomp them streets. A lot of these cats been heard of me. Back to attack with a style that's swift. Dudes all tryna flip, but still I'm up. You know how we roll, boy, just won't stop. Sick it out of control like corporate pop. You might think it's a G, probably from the street, but I'm talking about the dumb boy, the G-O-D. I'm a real G boy, I stomp them streets. A lot of these cats been heard of me. I'm a real G boy, I stomp them streets. A lot of these cats been heard of me. Where you at, dog? I don't see ya no more. They all stuntin' frontin', talk about they been in war. And I ain't never see you boy talk like war. And I ain't never see you do jack before. I'm a real G boy, I stomp them streets. A lot of these cats been heard of me. I'm a